Hello, everybody. It's Janine, and I am so happy to be here with you guys. Um, Let me make my screen full size. Very happy to be here tonight with you guys. Earlier, I was live doing some cooking. I made some chicken noodle soup from scratch. So I hope that you will watch that video. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Okay, so tonight I am going to be talking about some books that I'm reading or attempting to read. Because some of these books remind me of when I was in college, and no joke. Okay, so let me turn my music down. So, the first book I'm going to talk about is Miss Nikki Giovanni, A Good Cry. So, that's the first thing we're going to discuss. I'm going to share my screen. Let me see. Share screen. This is Wikipedia. Nikki Giovanni, Yolanda Cornelia Nikki Giovanni Jr., June the 7th to 1943 to December 9th, 2024. So that she passed last year. Was an American poet, writer, commentator, activist, and educator, one of the world's best known African American poets. Her works include poetry anthologies, poetry recordings, and nonfiction essays, and covered topics ranging from race, social issues to children's literature. She won numerous awards, including the Langston Hughes Medal and the NAACP Image Award. She was nominated for a 2004 Grammy Award for her poetry album, the Nikki Giovanni Poetry Collection. Additionally, she was named as one of Oprah Winfrey's 25 Living Legends. Giovanni was a member of the Wintergreen Women's Writers Society. In the 1960s, she was one of the foremost authors of the Black arts movement, influenced by the Civil Rights movement and the Black Panther movement. So that's a brief summary. How do I get this off my screen? That's a brief summary of Nikki Giovanni. So I'm going to read some of her poems. She has a lot of poems, but this is the book that I chose. I got this from the library. So if you want to, instead of actually buying books, you can go to the library. I go to the library and half price bookstores most of the time to get my books. This poem is called The Past, the Present, the Future. There is really nothing we can do about the past. We cannot be unraped. We cannot, or at least should not, take back degrees because we are no longer like that person. There could be no justice, only revenge. We cannot undo statues of Confederates who tried to dissolve the United States because they didn't believe all people are created equal. It came, after all, on a midnight clear, and we worship the manger, not the cross. Though we should not fly, what losers fly? How dumb can we be? We cannot undo the past, not the people who kidnapped, not the people who sold nor brought, not the ships in which we languished, nor the buses upon which we had to stand while others took our seats until one woman said no. We stand for the future. We embrace peace, not mongers of war. We cannot undo the past. We can build the future where we can go to Mars. We send a Black woman because she will make friends and sing a song with them. When we go to Pluto, which we will be again, a planet, we send Black children to learn to ski. When we decide it's time to take the deity for our food, our shelter, our health, we will all, no matter which ideology. Wrap our arms around each other and be glad we live at this time on this earth. That's a wonderful poem. The next is a poem she wrote for Ruby Dee. Ruby Dee was an actress, 70s, 80s, and I think 90s. Her husband was Ozzie Davis. They were activists and they were also actors. And so this is a poem for Ruby Dee. You can, all these people you can search, you could do a Google search online. I think I'm going to include this about these people in the description. Hello, whoever just joined. Who is in the his house? Let me see. Can I read my comments? Let me go to my comments. Okay, so whoever came in, thank you. For Ruby Dee. I met Ruby and Ozzie shortly after I published my first book in 1967. They were hosting a television show and requested the permission to use a poem of mine, Nikki Rosa. I was thrilled. My immediate answer was yes. And Ruby asked, "How much for permission?" "Are you kidding?" I asked. "You mean I get paid and have Ozzie and Ruby read a poem of mine on television?" And that was the beginning of a wonderful friendship. Ruby came to Virginia Tech about 5 years ago to celebrate the 100 best African American poets with us. She and I together read the poem for Rosa Parks. I asked her agent what the billing would be. She said Miss D would destroy me if I charged you. I loved Ruby for a lot of reasons, but mostly because she remembered who she loved and who loved her. She will not be forgotten. Her genius, her kindness, her forward-looking, her desire to build a better future will always be with us. Art is the root tool to build a future, and Ruby Dee showed us the way. So I'm going to read one more last poem from this book. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day, morning, evening, night, wherever you are. Okay, here's another poem. Black Lives Matter, not a hashtag. I'm not ashamed of our history because I know there is more to come. I am not ashamed of slavery, neither bought nor sold, because I know there's another answer. I am not ashamed of dark or light skin, straight or curly or nappy. Let's call that hair. I'm not ashamed of thick or thin lips, nor the time we waste singing and dancing. We taught the white folks to sing and dance too. I'm proud of Simon of Cyrene. Nobody made him help Jesus. He did his part. I'm proud of a woman who moaned on the ship at the 10th day for admitting, if not defeat, then certainly change. I'm proud of the rappers who rap. And mostly, especially, I'm proud that Black lives matter. We do. We honestly do. So that's a book by Nikki Giovanni, A Good Cry. So I hope that you will go to the library or buy a copy of this. You can you can go online. I think it's called Thrift Books, which is where I got this book about Mansa Musa. We're going to talk about Mansa Musa in a few. So you can go to Thrift Books, or you can go to blackpearlbooks.com, which is which is a black owned bookstore in Austin, Texas, but you can also order and they will ship the books to you. And I got this book right here, They Came Before Columbus by Ivan Van Sermita. So I got this book for them. So we're going to talk about, actually, we're going to talk about Africa, because you can't talk about Black history without talking about Africa. A lot of people think that our history started when we came to America, but our history actually started in Africa. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Africa, and then I'm going to go into talk about this book that came before Columbus by Ivan Van Sermita. And then we'll end off the discussion by talking about Mansa Musa. Okay. So I had a friend. Let's see if you can see this picture. This was my friend, and his name was, let me see if I get a better, increase it. Hold on one second. So this was my friend, and his name was Ali Awuse. And I met Ali in the early 2000s. Ali was a Black Panther, not the movie Black Panther. Okay. There was a group of Black activists in the late 60s and 70s called the Black Panther Party from Oakland, California. And Ali was one of the original members of the Black Panther Party in Oakland, California. And here is a picture. Let's see if I can make it big. Okay, so here's a picture of the Black Panther Party. I think that might be my friend. I think that might be my friend Ali with the afro, the heavyset guy. I'm not sure. So what does this have to do with Africa? I know that's what you're asking. My friend Ali taught me many things. He taught me that the original name of Africa was Akebulan, not Africa. So let me go to my shared screen again. So this is what my friend Ali Awuse taught me, that Akebulan was the original name of Africa. And a lot of people don't know that, but he taught me that. So I'm going to go down and read a little bit about Akebulan. Etymology of Africa, indigenous origin theories, Akebulan. One of the schools of thought argues that Africa was originally referred to as Akebulan by the people long before the name Africa came about. Akebulan is an indigenous term that wasn't given to Africans by Europeans. The book Kemet History of Africa celebrates the Senegalese history that the late Dr. Chika Anta Diop asserts that the ancient name of Africa was Akebulan, meaning mother of mankind or Garden of Eden. The name Akebulan, he writes, was used by the Moors, Nubians, Ethiopians, and other indigenous people. The theory aligns with Kemet, Egyptian religious, and Ethiopian texts that note Africa as the genesis of creation. According to Guyanese-born British professor of African studies, Dr. Ivan Gladstone Van Sermita, the etymology of Africa is linked to the Egyptian word Afru-Ika, which translate to motherland like Akebulan. This theory also assigns indigenous roots to the etymology of Africa. So that's what my friend taught me way back when, before I even heard of the book that came before Columbus. My friend Ali Awuse, who was a Black Panther, one of the original members of the Black Panther Party, taught me that the original name of Africa was Akebulan. And so this book that came before Columbus was written by Ivan Van Sermita, and he asserts that Africans came from Africa way before Columbus and sailed to what is called Mexico and other Colombia and other South American countries. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back to my shared screen. Let's see if I can find it. And I'm gonna give you a brief summary of Dr. Ivan Van Sermita. Dr. Sermita has passed away. He was Egyptian, and he spent his life studying the history of Africans and the Moors and how they traveled. He has several books out, but this is an AI overview. They Came Before Columbus by Ivan Van Sermita argues that Africans made contact with the Americas centuries before Christopher Columbus, presenting evidence of pre-Columbian transatlantic voyages and significant African influence on Native American cultures, including physical similarities, cultural practices, and navigational knowledge, challenging the tradition narrative of European exploration as the first to reach the New World, essentially claiming that Africans had a presence in Americas long before Columbus arrived. So that's what he talks about in his books. And I'm going to see, okay, because these are some of the heads that are the clay heads. Black Warrior Dynasty in ancient Mexico, Olmec Negro Stone Head, San Lorenzo, Olmec Negro Stone Head. So these are some of the stone heads that were found in Mexico, and look at the features. If that's not black, I don't know what is. And look at those lips. Those lips look like my lips. Look. Them lips look just as wide as mine. Check that out, okay? And then here's another head from Olmec head they found. And those features look black. And look at that one. If that's not a brother, look at that hair. Look at that hair, that nose, and those lips. Those are black people. And they found these pictures, and they found okay, so they found out this stuff in Mexico, showing that that they sailed from, I guess what is called Ghana, West Africa, the Mali Empire, which is West Africa, which is now the Sudan, that they sailed from there to different parts of the Americas. And here's some more statues, some more faces. Bam, there you go. So I'm still reading this book. For me, this is kind of a hard read because I watch way too much short videos, so that has made my attention span short. So I'm trying real hard to concentrate and read this book. And some of the words I can't pronounce because they're African origin, and so I'm struggling trying to pronounce some of these words. But if you're interested in history, read this book. Ivan Van Sermita. He has a whole bunch of books that came before Columbus, and you can order this book from and other books from Black Pearl Bookstore in Austin, Texas. It's the only Black-owned bookstore in Austin. So moving on from They Came Before Columbus, I'm going to talk about Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa was the king of the Mali Empire in West Africa. So, and this is a children's book. I got this online from the thrift books. I got this online for $4, and the illustrations in this book are just beautiful. Look at that, just beautiful. And he was so rich that when he took a trip from Mecca, he went for Africa. Well, Egypt is in Africa. Did he go to Egypt? But I'm going to show you a video of that. But when Mansa Musa, the king of the Mali Empire, was going to Mecca, he gave out so much gold that he bankrupt the society for about 12 years because he overloaded the economy with gold. And so I'm going to show you a quick video about him, if I can find it. There's a video about him that you can watch. This comes from the BBC, and it's about 2 minutes long, so I hope you stick around to watch it.
The city of Cairo was taken by storm by one of the most awe-inspiring sights its citizens had ever seen. Marching through its winding streets was an entourage of thousands of African soldiers, courtiers, traders, scholars, and slaves, all laden in gold. Horses and camels with gold leafing on their fur pulled vast amounts of riches that were handed out to the poor and traded for goods. So much gold was handed out that the Cairo economy crashed and would not recover for 10 years. At the helm, sitting on a gold throne, holding a gold staff, was their leader, widely believed to be the richest human in the history of the world, Mansa Musa, the Emperor of Mali. In the era of Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Wall Street, and big tech, it is hard to fathom a more prosperous time in human history. However, many believe Mansa Musa's wealth outdoes that of all modern billionaires.
Musa was the kind of the crowning jewel, so to speak, of a long lineage of West African imperial rulers. Depending on who's doing the estimating, people will, suggest that his net worth, adjusted for inflation is, 400 billion or 500 billion or 600 billion. People don't actually know.
There's a lot of subjectivity to that type of claim, but it's really based on the kind of access Mansa Musa had to gold.
Mansa Musa ruled over the Mali Empire, a vast and powerful entity that stretched from the Atlantic coast of Western Africa to the deserts of modern-day Niger.
This region that the Mali Empire extended across was a source for some of the purest gold that circulated in that period of time, when the most powerful polities were largely based on a gold standard.
In the medieval period, without any question, there's probably only one state that has anything like the kind of military, economic, and political strength of the Empire of Mali, and that's probably China.
A devout Muslim, Mansa Musa's legendary trip to Cairo was part of a pilgrimage to Mecca. Inspired by the experience, he returned to Mali in 1325 and kickstarted a golden age for one of Africa's most famous cities.
He invests the resources of his empire into cultivating the really, really important Islamic scholarly tradition in West Africa. So in Timbuktu, for example, there are 80 universities in the city of Timbuktu in the 1400s. This is a complex, literate society that there are scholars from all over the world, literally, that are coming to learn Islamic law and astronomy and theology and these sciences in this West African empire.
The Mali Empire continued to thrive for the rest of Mansa Musa's life. Even after his death in approximately 1337, the empire continued to flourish under the rule of his sons. However, with the rise of rival empires and new forms of trade, the empire went into decline in the 15th century. Despite his global legacy, Mansa Musa has largely disappeared from the Western historical imagination.
Colonialism and the Atlantic slave trade have a major impact on the way that the Euro-American world writes about and perceives Africa and Africans.
Stories of Africans who were writing dozens of languages in a city like Timbuktu, who were the wealthiest and most powerful kings on the planet, don't jive well with what Africa has come to mean in European discourse. This is one of those kind of treasures of African history that if we can unthink some of our received wisdom about what Africa is and isn't, if we can unlearn some of the things that we think that we know about Islam, we can have a glimpse back into an entirely different world. Before the kind of contemporary discourses of racial marginalization came into being, a Black Muslim ruler could rightfully consider himself second to none.
Okay, so that's all I got to talk about tonight. And I hope that when you think of Black history, that you think past slavery, that you think past what we know as the United States, that you look to Africa, because as you saw from this video, Mansa Musa is considered to be more richer than Bill Gates, than Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk. Elon Musk today. That's how much wealth he had, and how he educated his people in Timbuktu. He had all these universities, and people from Europe came to study in Africa, in which was called Ekebulon at that time. So look past what you have learned in the United States. Look past all of that, because we are a great people, and that's why they are stopping learning about our history in school, because they don't want us to know who we really are, because we know who we really are, we'll know what we are capable of. So I'm going to end on that note, and I thank you for joining me. And if you like this broadcast, please give it a thumb up and share it out. And I appreciate you for joining me. Peace and happy Black History Month.